Hello, sports fans, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm certainly appreciative of your involvement in these. Look forward to many more. Today, we want to talk about friendship, friendship, and what it means to a young lion ready to start life, and the value that friends have. I was just talking to my grandson this morning. He's visiting in from California. And I asked him, Aiden, do you have a good friend? And he said, yeah, I have good friends. He said, you've talked to me about this before. And I said, well, it's very important to have a good friend. I had a good friend, a bosom buddy for all my years of growing up. His name was Chris Rutherford. And of course, from scriptures, we know about Jonathan and David and their dear friendship and the relationships that they have that were so encouraging, because Jonathan had the inside track on the kingship. David had the inside track on the heart of God. And God brought them together to form a friendship that was all important to both David and Jonathan. Jonathan had just a dear heart, because even though he was in line for the kingship, he recognized that God had not chosen him. God had chosen David. And Jonathan pled and pledged his love for David and said, you will be king. He gave him his robe. He gave him his clothing. He gave him his belt. He said, you are to be king. And their friendship lasted throughout their lives. And even Jonathan's son, Shebetheth, I can't remember his name specifically, but he was lame from childhood. And David remembered his promise to Jonathan, and he went and brought him into his own household. You'll eat, he said. You'll eat at my table because of my love for Jonathan. Well, I had a good friend, Chris Rutherford. And the story that came to mind that I want to relate real quickly was a skiing trip that we took. I was a sophomore at UNC, and I'm on Franklin Street, and here comes Chris. And Chris says, we're going skiing. And I said, we don't ski, we surf. But he said, nope, we're going skiing this weekend in Boone, North Carolina. I didn't have a dime to my name. I had seen an advertisement for a credit card at the bank there on Franklin Street. So I said, well, yeah, I guess I'll do that. So I went in and got a credit card and put a little bit on there, because we went in his Mustang up this big mountain to Boone. And when we got there late at night, Chris tells me, oh, we're out of gas. I said, great. There aren't any gas stations up here. So, being on top of the hill and God's gift of gravity, we started coasting down that hill with our lights on, but no power. And we got to the bottom of the hill and coasted into a gas station and got $3 worth of gas. And then we went up the hill, and our plan was to sleep in the car that night and the next morning go skiing. It was freezing, and I was in the back seat. Christian was asleep in the front, but I couldn't get to sleep because I was freezing. I had this very thin little blanket over me. But I am convinced that the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me, because I wouldn't have figured this out. But I looked down, and there was a Daily Tar Heel, a newspaper, in the floorboard of the car. I picked that paper up, and I started wadding pages together to make little balls of paper. And I placed one on my feet, one on my knees, one on my stomach, and one on my chest. Little ball of newspaper. That provided a space between the blanket and my body warmth. And I woke up in the morning toasty. In fact, when Chris woke me up, I said, why'd you wake me up? I'm having a great sleep. But that little barrier between the blanket gave my body heat a place to warm up. That was warm. Well, we went skiing. I was dressed in a cheap old sweater, cotton sweater. Christian was duded out like he was going and skiing in St. Maurice. And we went skiing. And we skied. He skied sort of, and I kind of slid. But we had a great day together in the Lord. And the verse that came to mind, which is what I call the new skier's verse, is found in Ecclesiastes 4:9. And let me read that to you because I think it is specifically good for this. Ecclesiastes 4:9 and 10. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their efforts. For if either falls, his companion can lift him up. But pity the one who falls without another to lift him up. That's friendship. That's the skier's friendship. Because at Christian, I've been there many times to help me, and I help him lift each other up. We would have been pretty frozen, more so than we were. Jonathan and David's friendship was important to both of them, and I want us to be aware of that, young lion, as we pick our friends. C.S. Lewis had a statement that I'll leave to you. Friendship is unnecessary. Yeah, you can make it on your own. Like philosophy, like art, it has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which give value to survival. And that's so true. And we know that our friends are mere mortals. They make mistakes. They sometimes don't have such wise counsel, but we want wise counsel from wise friends. David, Jonathan had that friendship. They had that wise counsel. And what I urged my grandson, and what I urge you to do, is find someone that's going to take you this way and not someone that's going to take you that way. Friendship is all important in that, and I thank God for his gift to me for Chris Rutherford. I loved him as a brother because we could share each other's problems. We could tell each other our jokes. We loved being with each other. And he lifted me up, and I lifted him up, and we didn't go down, which could have been very easy in that time frame we were in. God says to us, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. That's Proverbs 18:24. And we know that friend to be Jesus. I found a friend such a friend. He loved me ere I knew him. That's our friend Jesus. He's with us in all situations. And having Jesus as our friend determines who our friends, our valued friends, should be. Because that spirit is a bond. The Spirit of Christ in each of our hearts bind us as it did Jonathan and David. So I encourage you today, pick your friends well and always look to God to help you in that wisdom. I invite you to join me on my website, edmac.com, for articles and books that will help you build your faith, strengthen your life with purpose, and that's our call. Thank you for joining with me today. I look forward to seeing you next time right here on Truth Seeker Podcast. Have a great day.